Dear students, welcome to our new channel Nyayacharya. In Sanskrit, Nyayacharya means a teacher of logic and judicial reasoning. This channel is faceless because the real purpose of this channel is not about me, it is about you. The goal here is to make your learning easier and more enjoyable through listening. You can tune into this podcast anytime while traveling, jogging, or even relaxing. My hope is that these lectures will guide you, inspire you, and make you complex to understand complex ideas easily. For those who subscribe and request through the chat box by sharing their email ID, I will also provide the notes to support your studies. So together let us make learning not a burden, but a journey of excitement and discovery. Dear students, welcome to our very first lecture on administrative law. The subject is divided into 4 modules. As we study each module, we will also connect it to how questions may appear in the examination so that you are fully prepared for every type of question. Today we will begin with Module 1, Introduction to Administrative Law. Leave me alone to take care of me. So that is the concept. The journey from Laissez Faire to welfare state. Dear students, today we are beginning our exciting journey into administrative law, and where better to start than with story of how governments themselves changed from a time when rulers said, "We will not interfere, you take care of yourself," to a time when governments proudly say, "We are here to look after your welfare." This story is not just about dry legal terms, it is about people. It is about society, revolutions, wars, poverty, and progress. It is about the world moving from the idea of laissez faire, literally meaning let it be or leave us alone, to the idea of welfare of state, where governments play an active role in shaping the lives of the citizens. The birth of laissez faire, that means leave me alone. The term laissez faire comes from French. In 18th century, during the period known as the Age of Enlightenment, thinkers in France and England began to argue that governments should not interfere in the economy. One famous French economist, Francois Quesnay, and his group called physiocrats believed that if you simply left the economy alone, nature would take its own course. Later, great Scottish economist Adam Smith, in his famous book The Wealth of Nations, which is written in 1776, gave further strength to this idea. Smith spoke of invisible hand of the market. According to him, if every individual is allowed to freely pursue their self-interest, the overall result will be prosperity for the society. For example, if a farmer wants to sell wheat and people want to buy wheat, the price will be decided naturally by supply and demand, the basic principle of economy. If the government steps into the control prices or force trade, it will disturb this natural balance. That was the concept of Smith. Thus the motto became, the best government is the one that governs the least. This was the philosophy of laissez faire. Minimum government involvement. Government keep out. That was the concept. So how it became in practice? Laissez faire in practice During the 18th and 19th centuries, this idea took strong root in England, America, and parts of Europe. Governments limited their role mainly to maintaining law and order, protecting property rights, and defending the nation from external attacks. Everything else, trade, industry, wages, working conditions, was left to private individuals and businesses. At first, it looked very promising. The Industrial Revolution began in England. Under this very policy, factories came up, new technologies emerged, and wealth increased. People believed this was proof that free markets and minimum government control was really good and really worked. But there was another side to this story. That is the dark side of Laissez Faire. While industries grew up, workers suffered. There were no laws on working hours, minimum wages, safety in factories, or child labor. Imagine children of 8 or 9 years working in a coal mines for 12 to 14 hours a day. Imagine workers in a textile mills breathing dust filled air and dying of lung diseases while owners made huge amount of profits. The poor became poorer and the rich became richer. The gap widened in between the poor and rich. The market left to itself was not really fair. It served the people who are more powerful and having money. In England, writers like Charles Dickens described the miserable lives of workers under laissez-faire system. Strikes and protests became common. Philosophers like Karl Marx began to question whether such system was truly just. It became clear that the system of no interference was producing freedom for the rich but suffering for the poor. The seeds of change, then slowly the change started happening. By the late 19th and 20th centuries, governments started realizing that complete non interference was dangerous. A society could not survive if its workers were starving, children were dying, and basic welfare was missing. Some important events forced change actually. The first thing is the Great Depression happened in between 1929 to 1939. The stock market crashed in the US, ruined economies worldwide, factories closed, unemployment soared, and mills went hungry. The free market had collapsed. People turned to governments for rescue. And the another event, the world wars, happened in between 1914 to 1918 and 1939 to 1945. Wars showed the need for central planning, rationing, public health measures, and societal security for the soldiers' family. Governments had to actually step in. Another event was the rise of the socialism and labor movements. Workers demanded rights. Trade unions grew up powerful. If governments ignored them, revolutions threatened the stability of the government. The message was clear: the government could not no longer be night watchmen. They had to become caretakers. They had to become the caretakers. And the welfare state, the idea of welfare state was born. The idea of welfare state was beautifully captured in a report called Beveridge Report in 1942 in England. Sir William Beveridge listed the 5 giants that society had to fight. The first one is want, that is property. The second one is disease. Third, ignorance. Fourth one, bad living conditions. And fifth one, unemployment. The solution: government must actively provide education, health, employment, housing, and social security. Thus, the modern welfare state emerged, where the government is not just a watchman but a parent figure ensuring the well being of its people. And the features of welfare state. What are the features of the welfare state? Regulation of economy. That means government controls monopolies, fixes minimum wages, and prevents exploitation. Social security, the other one. Pensions, insurance, and schemes for the poor. Those are including in the social security. And public services, free or affordable health care, education, housing, etc. And protection of rights, laws to safeguard the laborers, laws to safeguard the women, laws to safeguard children and the weaker section, etc. So the welfare state does not mean government controls everything, but it means the government ensures that freedom and prosperity are balanced with justice and equality. Freedom and prosperity are balanced with justice of equality. So that is about welfare state. And the Indian experience, if it comes to India, after independence in 1947, India made a conscious choice to become a welfare state. This is clear in the directive principles of state policy in our constitution, part 4. Articles 39, 38, 39, 41, 43 and others guide the government to promote social justice, reduce inequalities, provide education, protect workers and care for the weak. Example, free and compulsory education for the children, midday meal schemes, subsidies for the food and health care, etc. So there are so many schemes and projects from the part of government to maintain the welfare of the society. The constitution itself declares in its preamble that India shall be sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, showing the welfare ideal. Global influence. The different countries adopted the idea of welfare policies in different ways. In England, if it is in England, NHS, National Health Service, was established in 1948, offering free healthcare. In USA, after the Great Depression, Franklin D. Roosevelt introduced the New Deal with job programs and social security. So, Scandinavian countries like Sweden, Norway became famous for their strong welfare models, universal education, healthcare, and pensions, etc. So, this is about the shift from welfare, Laissez Faire to welfare society. The journey from Laissez Faire to welfare state is the journey of society learning that freedom without responsibility creates inequality, but welfare without freedom creates dictatorship. The balance is achieved when the government takes responsibility for the welfare while respecting the liberty. This is all about the concept of shift from Laissez Faire to the welfare state. This transformation was not sudden actually. It came through history, suffering, revolutions, and demand for justice. And this very shift created the need for a strong and growing body of administrative law. So it is the basis for the growing of administrative law. So this is about today's lecture, dear friends. And if you want to get the notes of this lecture, and I have also prepared some questions and answers that I can share with you, you please subscribe the channel if you are interested to follow this channel, and share your email ID in the chat box. Definitely I will share with you the notes.